Okay, so thank you to Ameesha for joining us today for today's AMA. We're just going to get right into the questions. So, what was your education and career path that led you to your current position today?
It was a long and winding road. And I started off after I graduated with a BA in psychology from the University of Waterloo, and I had done the co-op program. At the end, my last two co-op programs were as a UI designer in the IT industry. And that was back, I graduated in 1996. So that was during the IT boom. And everyone at that point was getting co-op jobs in IT related jobs, and so
Hmm.
I had just discovered that there even was a branch of that during my co-op term, and I even did my thesis in the area of human computer interaction. So then I was a UI designer for software, multimedia games, network administration software, all of it for about 7 years. And I actually then took a turn into another career path. The company that I was working for, I was making great money in my 20s doing this. But I went into it because it was lucrative and it was a career opportunity for me at that time. And I hadn't received a lot of career guidance in my life at all. And at that point, everyone was just trying to get a good job with good money. And this was something that I could get a job in with a psychology degree. But I liked it, but it wasn't my passion. And I didn't even realize I was dragging my feet to work every day after 5 years of working. And I eventually got into independent filmmaking. And so I lost my IT job and I drove to Montreal and I went to film school for 4 years, and I was 10 years older than everybody else. And then after that, I graduated, and of course it's a struggle, right? So I went from having a lot of money to having very little money in my 30s and being a starving student all over again. And I ended up making my first film that I made out of film school was a documentary about champion women boxers from India. And me and my friend, we worked on that over a 10-year period. And while I was doing that, of course, I had to find a way to make money on the side, and I fell into a job in educational technology as a media producer. So we were involved with the audio video content for the online courses at Concordia University. And, it was a great gig, I could say, but I could go on for a while, but I know that you probably have some questions that are a little more relevant to what the students want to hear about. So yeah, maybe I'll
Yeah, that
stop
all
there.
sounds amazing, though. It's super interesting to see how your career kind of took a turn. So, going all the way back to your first undergrad, what kind of prompted you to go into psychology in the first place?
It was sheer interest. It was really nothing else. It was the most fascinating area of study I thought that was available. And again, I was at that point 19, coming out of high school, and you just like a sheep. You just go to one of those good universities in Ontario, either Western or Queen's or Waterloo. You try to get into one of those. And so, Waterloo had a great reputation. I don't know, it just felt right. So I went and yeah, I chose psychology after reading all the other areas of study. Um, and I don't regret it at all. I think it's such a wonderful base to have in life. Yeah, you think beyond career. Psychology is fascinating. It's just a study of human behavior, but it's also self-study. And this is incredibly
Mm,
encouraging, no matter what you're doing. And looking back on it, a lot of people are like, well, Ameesha, what are you going to do? I was taking social psychology and gerontology, and everyone's like, well, are you going to become a psychologist? And I knew that's not my path. And I didn't know what I was going to do. But,
mm,
can't, you can't go wrong if you go towards your pull of interest. Something will happen. And even if the road is like this, it's okay. And it can be very daunting sometimes, especially at Waterloo, where you're with these students. There's this amazing engineering department, computer science, and where there's this very linear, solid path of once you get a degree, you're going to get a really fantastic, lucrative job in that area of study. Where for
mm.
me, it's not like that at all, and it was So, I mean, I think I felt like safe that I found UI design, user UX design is called now. But looking back, looking back on it, yeah, no, I gained much more from my psychology degree than I realized. It wasn't like a very black and white practical thing that, oh, now you're going to apply what you learned in this intro class in your office thing. Not at all. It actually gave me
Yeah,
a,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and I mean, now as an independent filmmaker, I mean, it is psychology, you know, especially when you're doing documentaries, and
Hmm.
it's all psychology. It's everywhere, you
Yeah,
know.
very well said. Thank you. Kind of pivoting very slightly, if you hadn't chosen your current career or your field of independent filmmaking and media, where do you think you'd be today?
Oh, that is a good question. Um, hmm. Well, you know, one thing that I would tell people to do is to really, I mean, you hear it all the time, but my gosh, it's so true. To go to work, do what you like. You know, even when I mean, yes, I liked psychology, but what I liked even more than that was like drama and theater, even back then. And I was not paying attention to the side of me that was drawn to the arts because I thought, well, that's frivolous. You know, I mean, I loved creative writing. I loved it. And I thought, no, this is kind of a waste of time. I got to get, you know, serious. But I, I remember going to see plays at the University of Waterloo and wishing that I was involved in them so much in the theater. And I mean, it's never too late, you know, and this is the exciting thing with life is you can change your career path. Don't worry if you're in something right now that you don't like or you're not sure. It's okay. No experience is wasted. But gosh, what would I be doing? Something, it would be something creative in the arts. Yeah, I'm not sure what. I mean, I'd love to be a playwright, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of students have definitely felt the pressure, I guess, that you probably felt to get like into a lucrative career path. So I think it's probably going to be very reassuring to hear your words.
Yeah. And I think that it's fine if there are students out there, even if what you love to do, I would say keep doing it even if you're not getting paid to do it. And in fact, sometimes getting paid to do what you love, if it's in the realm of anything creative or arts, no matter what it is, there's a lot of pressure actually to be doing your passion and to be depending on that for money. So don't worry one bit if that's not your situation. In fact, it's very
Yeah.
freeing when it's not. Yeah.
So going all the way back to your undergrad in psychology at UW, do you have a memorable experience that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I remember my favorite class was psychology of human sexuality. And when that came out, of course, I can't remember the professor's name, this wonderful gentleman from, I think, Denmark or one of those progressive Northern European countries, he was teaching it. And the class was packed, okay, because it had the word sex in it. And there was like jocks in it at the time. Keep in mind, this is the 90s, and we were not woke at all, right? And it was so eye-opening that class, and he just gave. I was so grateful for that class. It gave me a very very healthy view of all the different, you know, of sex, of different sexual orientations. He had people. I remember he had a panel at that time, and this was very avant-garde. And he had people that were on the panel. There was a girl. She's like, I'm bisexual, and there's no difference to me whether I'm dating a boy or a girl. And today, that's not a big deal. Back then it was. And it gave me that very, very open mind to just see everything the same and to view it just in such a healthy way. And I remember my textbook, it was a fascinating course. And even when he talked about, you know, even gerontology courses that I took, I became very empathetic to older people in society and how the world is not designed for them and how the whole world can make them feel excluded. So it created my empathy and understanding, and you're just more compassionate towards people. And this is invaluable. Yeah, yeah. I think that was probably one of the best experiences I had. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear that a course can have such strong impacts on your life in the future. So thank you. And do you have any other pieces of advice for current psychology students? This could be education, school, or that's the same thing, education, life, or career.
Well, I would say don't worry so much. Don't like, there's such pressure on us, right? To be getting like the perfect job right away. If you don't have it figured out, it's okay. Um, Interesting enough, my sister also took psychology as an undergraduate, and now that she's in her early 50s, she became a psychotherapist. But between then and now, she was doing all sorts of other things, and I was talking to her about it, and I told her I was doing this interview with all of you. And I said, God, I wish I had someone to speak to back then, and she said the same thing. She's like, no, I wouldn't have changed a thing, and you just don't know what your path will be, but trust that you'll find it. And just listen to yourself and just try to live an honest life. But at the same time, yeah, you do have to make money and you do have to pay your rent. So if you have to find a job that does it, that's not your perfect passion. It's okay. Don't worry. You'll figure it out for yourself. You'll figure it out for yourself. But never stop doing that thing that you love on the side. Keep that little thing in you alive. What else? Yeah, and you're all so young. Gosh, you're just starting your lives. I'm 49 and I still feel like I'm young and I still can change a career path if I want at this point in my life. And that's the beautiful thing is it never feels stuck. Yeah.
Well, that's really reassuring. I know, especially nowadays with COVID kind of shifting how we look at everything, it's nice to hear that, you don't have to have it all figured out.
No, no way. No, absolutely. And you're going to change. Your interests are going to change, and it's okay. It actually keeps life very interesting. You can reinvent and start anew. Yeah.
So moving into a more, I guess, specific question, how does psychology or your psychology knowledge add value in the field that you're currently working in, media production?
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Well, the study of human behavior. I would say understanding, like for me, it's all about, I guess, the user experience, right? And I guess that's my UI background as well. When I was doing human computer interaction is a user experience, no matter what it may be. So even when we're designing these courses, when I'm instructing the professors that we're filming, their content, their audio, I'm always thinking in terms of the person receiving the content. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, it gives me empathy for the user, the empathy for the user experience, no matter what it is that I'm doing, whether I'm filming a documentary, whether I'm in the office, creating content for an online course, thinking of that. And then, yeah, I think it actually just gives you good human skills as well, like communication and um, those are the most valuable, these soft skills, they call them.
Mm-hmm.
I think soft skills are way more, hold way more currency than a hard skill. Hard skills anyone can get, so these soft skills. And I think psychology develops that. Communication, empathy, working with others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very well said. So targeting your current career path or your current career right now, what kind of sparked your interest in filmmaking and production? Was it anything in particular? I know you kind of touched on it briefly before, but could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, it was just, I don't even know where it came from. It was literally something from within. I remember even in the midst of my psychology degree at Waterloo, I randomly applied for film school at UBC. And I'm like, why am I even doing this? I've never even picked up a camera. Like, what am I doing? I wasn't even that much of a cinephile, but something like, I don't know what it was. And then I actually got in and I'm like, I'm not going. Why did I apply? And I didn't get in. And then I was in Halifax working for a big IT company. I was managing a team. And anyways, I lost that job. But at the time I was doing that. And this programmer came up to me and he's like, the community college has a Super 8 film course. Do you want to take it? So anyways, long story short, I went to a little community college, paid $100 and made a film on actual film, 8mm film. And I remember I was in this little room. We were like, literally, you're cutting and pasting the film together like the good old days. And I just like, this is it. This is everything that I want to do, you know? So, yeah. Can I add just something else quickly?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
When I was in the University of Waterloo, I took a course called Eastern Religions, in which you learned about Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Confucianism, Taoism. And it was at that point during that I read all those ancient scriptures in Eastern philosophy texts, and my mind was broken open. I remember sitting there I remember reading the Tao Te Ching and having my mind blown open on the grounds of University of Waterloo. And that marked me deeply. And I came back to that, and it spoke to me. You know when something is speaking to you, and it will catch up with you later. May not be then. I mean, and now I've completely followed suit to that, and I'm now a meditation teacher. And I spend a lot of time teaching meditation and breath work. And I think there's psychology related to that as well. It's all about managing our mind and our emotions, but through meditation and breath work. And I spend like 20 hours a week volunteering in that area.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think that all the seeds started at Waterloo, that class. And I remember my roommates were like making fun of me. They're like, what job are you going to get with that? Like, what kind of courses are you taking? And they were taking more practical courses. But I see now the value that had.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of going back all the way into your undergrad once again, how did you network early on? And do you have any insight on how to do this with so few in-person events now?
Yeah, well, I mean, back then, luckily we had for those of you who are in co-op, that's incredible. And I remember my first 2 co-op jobs. Oh, I had some terrible experiences in co-op, but they're so valuable because you learn what you don't want to do. So if you're going through co-op and you just say you hated all your positions, don't think that's of any, you've just learned so much. But networking these days, well, I mean, people are connecting online, and I'd say, you have nothing to lose by reaching out to people and showing initiative. And if they don't respond, connecting with them again. And I'd say if you want someone's attention, I'd say try at least 3 times. Don't take no as a no. But you do what you're comfortable with. But if you keep knocking on that door, eventually people are going to listen. I mean, I learned that the hard way. When I wanted something from someone and they said no, I was like, oh, okay, it's a no. And then I realized afterwards from someone who knocked on that same door, they're like, oh no, I knocked again and again. And then eventually they listened. So be perseverant. Don't give up. Don't get disheartened. Oh, don't get disheartened. Yeah. It's like, and people don't talk enough about the importance of failure. Failure is such a bad F word. And it actually means you're progressing. It means you're doing something. There's complete growth from failure. It's such a something we're so afraid of, Even I grapple with that today, a fear of failure. What will people think, And it's like, oh no. Just keep moving and just learn from it, let go, and move on, and celebrate your failures. Celebrate them, yeah.
I know that probably speaks to a lot of students, including myself. I'm terrified of failure, so thank you. And as our very final question, this kind of goes back to your very first career in user experience, but do you have any pieces of advice for someone looking to go into the UX field who might not be in co-op and have the same opportunity as someone in co-op does?
UX experience, yeah. I mean, I think the beauty of it is that now you can learn so much online as well. I feel like we can self-educate. I think university is incredible because it provides a networking system. You know, you're meeting people at the university. And also, you're talking about networking, use every resource the university will provide. Well, if they provide anything like residencies, grants, or use them all. I didn't. I wasn't so smart when I went through university to use all the resources it had. So just dig and see what's available, even outside of the university, for students out there in the world. See if you can go study abroad for a semester. Why not? You know, just just do it. Just do it now. And sorry, the question was, oh yeah, UX design. Yeah, I think that there's just so much that's already readily available to self-educate yourself. But even when you go into UX design, see what you want to do UX design for, because I did it for a company that did network administration, and it was so boring. And then I did it for a company called Corel in Ottawa, in which I was in the multimedia games department, and that was so fun. So look at the product that you're working for and see if it's going to be even better for you if you're doing it for something you care about or you find interesting. If you can, sometimes you just have to get a job, and it's okay. Be easy on yourself. Take life lightly. See life as a game and have fun. I was very serious when I was your age. No need to be.
Well, thank you. Those are all of our questions for you today. Do you have any final words that you'd like to say to the students who are going to be watching this video?
Oh, I just wish I could meet them all. I would love to be in person and to see them and meet them. And I just love speaking with this generation, because there's just, it's such a, I'm so impressed with this generation that's coming up, and you have all the energy in the world. And it's just, I love being around this age group. I really do. I really, really do.
Hopefully soon. Hopefully things will slow down a little bit. But again, thank you for taking the time to interview with us today.